Welcome to A Word in Season. Thanks for joining us. Early in my working life, I was struggling in a relationship with a colleague that was so challenging, I found myself crying out to God in my study, sounding a bit like the crows you might hear around here just at the moment. When I finished and sat in silence, a thought came. Get a pen and a piece of paper, so I did. Then that same inner voice said, write everything down on that piece of paper, everything you really don't like about this other person. Well, that was fun. I wrote a lot. But then after a few more moments of silence, the same little voice said, now cross out anything on that page that isn't also a problem in you. I could not cross out one thing. I began to understand what Jesus meant when he said, why are you worried about the speck of sawdust in your other person's eye? What about the plank in your own? But the reason I mention that is not the relationship actually, it's because I would never have done that to myself. It was unexpected, it was confronting, it was the beginning of healing. It was Jesus. And as we come to Easter, I thought we might look at not a tale of two cities, but a tale of three people who found Jesus unexpectedly at their most desperate moment. First, Mary in John 20. You probably know the story. She comes to the tomb. She now doesn't even have a body. Still trying to struggle with how on earth the one who raised the dead can be dead. Now there's not even a body, and someone she thinks is the gardener says, why are you crying? Who are you looking for? And she says, if you've shifted his body, just tell me where it is. And then she hears Mary. And she knows that's Jesus. And the other two are Cleopas and his mate, the two disciples walking on the way to Emmaus, just as shattered as Mary was. And yet Jesus comes, walks alongside them. They don't know who he is. He opens the scriptures, and when finally he reveals himself where they least expected it, they say, our hearts were burning within us. Isn't it when we're desperate? Seems hope is gone. Feel like we're stuck in a rut that will never end. Aren't they the times almost always in the Bible where God is most powerfully present? One other thing that I kind of want to share with you, I think I meant to say, when Cleopas and his mate got to the town, to Emmaus, Jesus made it look as though he was going to walk on. And they said, oh no, stay with us. Once you encounter Jesus, you want to stay with him. I think Jesus might be saying to some people, let me out of church. I love being there with you, but you leave me there. You might think, well, hang on, I'm a tradie. I like being in my shed. And he would say, my dad was a tradie. I'm a carpenter's kid. I grew up in a shed. I'm into catering. Well, great. I did my first miracle at a wedding. Peter might tell you that he's a very handy person to go fishing with. My oldest brother, Bruce, he's now with the Lord, but he was bankrupt at one point in his life. He was bankrupt financially, emotionally, and spiritually. He'd always loved music, and he had an enormously impacting encounter with God sitting in the back of a rehearsal for a Christian concert. See, I know that Hebrews 13:5 is true. Well, the whole Bible is true. But Hebrews 13:5 especially, I will never, never, never leave you. Never leave you. Richard Rohr's quote's always so helpful here. We're always absolutely in the presence of God. What's absent is awareness. So stop, listen, make space for him, because he's here.